We are back on the baseline, and we are coming at you with a holiday event special. As you can see, we're a man down. Coach Smith, the flu bug has hit Hartford. Trav, how are you guys feeling over in Reedsburg? How's the family? How's the is that anyone staying healthy over there?
Yeah, we're all good here. That was an interesting slam poetry intro that you had going there.
Yeah, you got to mix it up once in a while.
You
As
sounded like
always,
you sounded like Jonah Hill in 22 Jump Street.
As always, we are presented by Bound, Wisconsin. Head there. You will see a full list of some of the tournaments that we're going to talk about on the boys and girls side. All the content that you could ask for, scores, stats, leaders, rankings, everything you could find in boys and girls basketball can be found at boundwisconsin.com. I'm trying to stay healthy. We had, I think, 5 or 6 kids out last night in illness. Sounds like we're going to be that number is going to go up. Also, they are having the Christmas blues, I'd imagine, as Christmas is tomorrow. We are recording on the 23rd. This will come out on the 26th. No episode recording this Sunday. But, yeah, a lot of holiday tournaments, Trav. I think I counted we're at 72 between girls and boys. Some of those are obviously co-ed, but a lot of really good games that you can get to starting yesterday and going all the way through December 30th.
I don't know what the exact number of teams is that play in some kind of holiday event, but it is high. For many schools, it is a yearly thing. Whether they play in the same event every year, whether they play in a different event or rotate a little bit, but it sure seems like the majority of schools are playing something over the holiday break, and it's interesting, right? Some of the events are true tournaments. If they're a tournament, it's often a 4-team tournament. You have 2 games one day, and then the next day the winners or losers play. There's some of them that are one-day tournaments where you're actually playing 2 games in one day. And then there's many of them that are just kind of classics or showcases where you have predetermined matchups. You're not playing winner and loser. You know who you're going to play the entire time. So a lot of variety in how these events are set up, which is interesting. And as we talked about in our previous episode of the Baseline Banter, with the way Christmas fell this year, we almost get 2 different rounds of holiday events. You got some events that are taking place this weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 26th and 27th. But then you still have next week open with a number of events taking place Monday, Tuesday, and or Wednesday of next week. So I kind of like how the schedule's set up. You could play a regular game Monday and Tuesday, especially if you had school Monday and Tuesday, as some places did. You could play this Friday and Saturday, or you could play next week. And then you can play on Friday, like many schools are doing, as kind of that first game after break, if you will. Although I don't know that many of them are going back for school on Friday. So an interesting layout and schedule this year with how the holidays fell.
Yeah, it is. And talked to a couple coaches this week, even over the last couple of days, Coach Smith included, and just talking about what are your expectations as a coach over the holiday break. Obviously, you get practices in. A lot of coaches now, like we talk, are playing in events. So I know at our level, or at Richland Center at least, because numbers fluctuate so much, we do varsity only as far as events. We do have practice. We will have practice over the break, but as far as getting into events, we only went with the one level because we found, I think it was our last year playing at the Aquinas tournament, we played the second day, so we played back-to-back days. The second day on the JV and freshman level, we played with 6 kids. So,
and I think that's pretty common. I think there's a lot of places that only do it as a varsity event that give their lower levels extra time off. Certainly, they're still practicing over break. For instance, here in Reedsburg, my son's a freshman. They practiced Monday and Tuesday this week, and then they're off until the following Monday while the varsity plays in an event this weekend. So, it varies by school, but I think there's a lot of places that consider this just kind of a varsity time, if you will.
yeah. And we get privy to a lot of good matchups. Ideally, most of them are streamed, so you can check in if you're not able to get to those events. Some of them, like there's a big one that's just they don't stream any of the games, and it's a little frustrating. But I guess that's the world we live in. Let's hop right into it. Let's try and get out of here in 30 minutes. Let's give the people what they want. Let's give a little breakdown. Let's start on the girls' side, Trav. When you're looking at the slate, when you're looking at everything that is coming up over the next week, what are some of the tournaments that have not only maybe the most games, but let's talk about some of them that have the best games.
It's interesting because it used to be that this Christmas break was when all the big events were and the best matchups, and you had some really good events that attracted a lot of the top level teams. In those in some places have kind of petered out a little bit, and it seems like on the girls' side, with the Brookfield Central event and the Kettle Moraine event, that the Thanksgiving holiday tournaments have kind of
Yeah.
been the more prestigious and have the top teams and top matchups. Not to say that there aren't good games in girls basketball, but um, as far as top tier ranked teams, state contenders going against each other, um, there's more in the Thanksgiving timeframe than there are during Christmas. So that's been an interesting change over the last probably 2 or 3 or 4 years, something like that. That's changed in kind of morphed on the girls' side.
Yeah.
But as we look at the girls' side, first of all, as we talked about in the last episode, that Doctors of Physical Therapy Holiday Classic down in Kenosha does continue. It starts, excuse me, during this week next and continues into after Christmas. So a big event, some solid teams there with many of the Racine and Kenosha area schools and kind of down in that southeast part of the state. A lot of games, none that are kind of ranked matchups or whatever, but Carthage College and UW Parkside hosting a lot of games. If you're wanting to get out and just see a lot of action and see a lot of different teams, that's a place that you can go check out.
I think between boys and girls, it's pushing 40 games
Yeah,
over the 3 day span.
yeah. So some of those games took place on Tuesday night, and then others take place Friday and Saturday. So again, a place to check out a lot of games. Also for this weekend, one of the interesting ones that I'm want to keep an eye on is the Oostburg Holiday Tournament, which is Friday and Saturday. On Friday, you've got Manitowoc Lutheran against Sussex Hamilton. So you've got kind of a smaller school versus a bigger school. Manitowoc Lutheran is a really good team. Expect them to be one of the better teams in their division. And then in the other matchup is Markesan and Oostburg. Oostburg, of course, as we talked about, may be the best team in the entire state, regardless of division. So you've got that one, and that is a tournament. So the winners will play the winners on Saturday, and the losers will play the losers. So you have a chance for Manitowoc Lutheran and Oostburg to meet up, which would be certainly a spotlight type of game. Both teams coming out of the different divisions of the Big East Conference. And that would be a really fun one, however it may play out.
Yeah.
So that is one certainly that, especially that Saturday possibility of Lutheran and Oostburg meeting up, that I think will draw some eyeballs and draw a lot of interest and attention. Mention the Doctors of Physical Therapy Holiday Classic at Carthage and Parkside. And then one of the more long-standing events, bigger events in the state is the Century Classic, which is a co-ed event, boys and girls basketball at UW Stevens Point at Quant Fieldhouse. A lot of games taking place across 3 different days, and a good lineup again this year. There are a number of ranked teams there. Looking at the schedule for what is that, Saturday, right? The 27th.
Yep.
Some good games early. You've got Beaver Dam is there. Pacelli is there. Pacelli will be playing against Elmira. And then at least on the girls' side, the last game on Saturday is Stevens Point and Elkhorn. And both those teams are ranked 10th in the most recent poll. Stevens Point in Division I and Elkhorn in Division II. So a good matchup there to close out the girls' slate on Saturday. Kind of interesting that they do have Is it the 28th is Sunday, right?
Yep.
That
Sunday.
they
There's
do
a
have,
couple.
yeah, that they do have games on Sunday. Again, just with the way the schedule broke down, um, having some games on Sunday. Elkhorn will play again, and then on Monday, a really good game at 12:30 on Monday. Stevens Point will play Beaver Dam. So again, two highly ranked teams, two highly thought of teams. Stevens Point, of course, coached by uh, former WNBA All Star Janelle McCarville. She's, I think it's her second year there, maybe third year, and she's really, excuse me, got that program going in a good direction. And Beaver Dam, of course, a perennial powerhouse that has kind of had a little bit of a resurgence and reemergence this year, ranked second in Division Two.
That's two.
Another,
That's two. That's two ranked games for point in
yeah,
3 days. So that's a really good challenge.
yeah, they've scheduled hard. They went over and played some really good teams in Minnesota earlier this year. The Wisconsin Valley Conference probably not going to challenge them, as much as that league has in the past. Some programs there a little bit down. So credit to Coach McCarville going out and scheduling hard in the non-conference.
Yeah.
And again, you'll talk about the boys' side of that Century Classic, but that's a great event, really well run, and looking forward to that one. Another event that's been going on for quite a while, the Sundrop Shootout, which I believe is hosted by Shawano, technically
Yep.
as the host school, but that's at UW Green Bay at the Crest Center. Not super high level matchups, but Hortonville Notre Dame next Monday is certainly one of note. Again, as a bigger event in the past, and I don't know what they have on the boys' side. I haven't looked at that schedule yet, but that's one that they've usually had a lot of games. Maybe not quite as many as that Doctors of Physical Therapy, or maybe as many as the Century Classic, but they've traditionally had a lot of games at that.
Combined, looking at Monday, Tuesday, you're looking at 10 boys and 4 girls, so 14 total.
Yeah, so more games on the boys' side at that event that you'll talk about in a little bit here. Hartford has a really good event that they're hosting on Monday and Tuesday. Hartford's a very good team, and they brought in some really good teams to participate and be involved in that. So Monday you've got De Pere and Slinger, Kettle Moraine and Xavier. Xavier's a team that has taken some lumps. They've got a few losses, but if you look at their metrics and their strength of schedule, it's really high up there, and that's why they've stayed in that top 10 despite a couple losses. Hartford took one on the chin last night, but they've got a couple good games in that event. They played Germantown on Monday and then played De Pere on Tuesday. Tuesday game.
I don't think we touched on this yet with Xavier. They did lose 2 of the Crawl girls already.
Right.
It was there's 3 Crawl sisters on that Xavier team, and they came into this year for the first time, I think, with all 3 being healthy and ready to go, and 2 of them went down with season-ending injuries early on.
Yeah, they played, I think, 1 or maybe 2 or part of 2 games together, all 3 of them, before unfortunately season-ending injuries to a couple of those girls. You hate to see it because they've been plagued by injuries really throughout their careers. A couple of ACL tears in there for a couple of them, and just an unfortunate situation. They've got a good team, even with the losses, and like I said, they've got a really difficult schedule that's going to challenge them. They play Slinger on Tuesday in that event, and then Hartford, as I said, plays De Pere. Kettle Moraine plays Germantown. But yeah, it would have been nice to see a full season out of the Kroll sisters and what they would have been able to do, being able to showcase their talent and just play together. I mean, that's pretty heartbreaking for them, for their family, to not have that opportunity to go out there on the court as much as they would have liked, obviously. So the Franklin tournament is one of those that used to be much larger. I think it's the Christine Rathke Memorial Tournament, or at least it used to be. I don't know if it is technically named that anymore, but that really used to be, if not one of the best Christmas tournaments. Still a solid lineup, but it used to be much bigger. and it used to be kind of one of those more prestigious events on the calendar. It's gone down a little bit in terms of the number of games anyway. I think at one point they did an 8-team bracket even for that event over a couple days or a few days, but no longer. It's just a 4-team kind of mini round robin, right? They play 2 games on Monday, 2 games on Tuesday. So on Monday, you've got Oak Creek taking on Pius. Pius is the number 1 ranked team in Division II. They are really in a resurgent season under Scott Herrick. And then Milwaukee Academy of Science plays Franklin. And then on Tuesday, Academy of Science plays Pius and Oak Creek plays Franklin. So good, solid teams, but again, not quite as big as that event used to be in the past. The Ab Nicholas event at Wanakee, and I can't remember, are there boys games as part of that as well?
Boys and girls on that one.
Yeah. Really good event there. That's a 4-team tournament. So on Monday in the girls' side, I really like the matchup between Platteville and Wanakee. Wanakee just went down that was the boys' side. Wanakee lost to Milton last night. Yep. But Wanakee is solid squad, and Platteville is a team that I think this is a good event for them to get challenged and push themselves, and sometimes a school like Platteville has a hard time finding those kinds of matchups. The SWC isn't super strong right now. A lot of the teams that they have in the area to play, because they're down there in the far southwest, and there's not a lot of bigger teams either. I mean, you're looking at the Swall and the Six Rivers as the closest schools, and those are smaller opponents. So this is a really good opportunity for Platteville to test themselves, and for their sake, for Platteville, hopefully to get some good wins that will help them in that seeding process. And that's something we should make sure we bookmark that and talk about that later, Colton. Some of the changes that were made to seeding and the timeline of release of information this year after the break, as we get closer to when that first seeding is going to be released. We'll touch on that, but a good opportunity for Platteville to get some not points, but make some good headway on what their seed could look like. Grafton takes on Eau Claire Memorial in the other game, and then winners will play winners and losers will play losers on Tuesday. Mentioned the Sundrop Classic at the Crest Center, and then the Marshall Holiday Tournament is one that I like as well. You've got Argyle Pecatonica, who, by the way, maybe we'll touch on it afterwards, but Argyle Pecatonica lost last night. A surprising one to Mineral Point. It was at home. It was at Argyle. I watched a little bit of that one on the stream. But they went down to Mineral Point. And, oh, by the way, the second-ranked team, Argyle Pecatonica, was first in D5. The second-ranked team, Assumption, also lost last night. They lost to a larger Rhinelander team. But so some shakeups coming in Division 5. But Argyle Pecatonica will play against Laconia, who's I can't remember if they lost last night as well, but they don't have a super spotless record right now. They've got 3 or 4 losses, but they have really gone out and challenged themselves. Those losses that they have are against very good competition. Coach Morgan, really likes to push his girls and challenge them. A couple of the Morgans have moved on to graduation recently, but still a good group there. So that'll be a good one, Laconia and Argyle Pecatonica. The other matchup in that one is Marshall and Poinette. And again, that's another actual tournament. So winners will play winners and losers will play losers on Tuesday.
I will say that the ones that have, whether it's same day where they play in consolation and championship are on the same day, or the second day, those nights can be a little long because we're trying to get the matchup set for the next day as well as getting stream information out. So 29th can be a long night, at least on our end.
Yeah. It's a mad dash. And unfortunately, sometimes the brackets or how those tournaments are set up is not always readily available.
Yeah.
you've done a lot of work ahead of time to try to get that figured out to make it easier. But it's a challenge to find sometimes who's actually going to play who and what that next matchup is going to look like. So
And
uh,
even when you do pop on the stream, if it's a neutral site, it just says home guest on some of the scoreboards. So it's like, oh man, what? If I come into this halfway through, I got to go all the way back and figure stuff out.
yeah. So on the girls' side, again, some really good games throughout the week, this week and next week. There's some other events that are, again, 4-team tournaments, 4-team classics. You can check out the full list. Colton's put that together on boundwisconsin.com of those girls' holiday tournaments. But yeah, those are the ones that stand out. Again, not quite as um, big of events as what we have on the Thanksgiving holiday, but still some very good games for people to get out to.
Yeah, we were saying before we went live here that I think I looked and it was like 4 or the top 5 girls teams in Division One weren't playing in a holiday tournament. But when, like you had mentioned, when you look back, they were in the Brookfield tournament, they were in the Kettle tournament. So yeah, that Thanksgiving time is really taking a bigger role as far as those early season matchups on the girls' side. Moving over to the boys' side, 38 tournaments I had counted up to this point. There's a couple that are out of state. There's a couple Minnesota ones where Wisconsin teams are heading. Our team, Richland Center, is heading to the Lewis Auto Classic at Winona State. There's one in Rushford, a couple others. But the biggest one and the one that gets a lot of, the top matchups is that Rick Majerus WBY shootout put on by our friend Mark Miller. That's down at Concordia University, December 27th, 29th, and 30th. And you look at the schedule, and there is just ranked teams and ranked matchups up and down that thing.
Yeah, I don't know how Mark logistically does that, to be honest with you. Over the course of 3 days, having 9 games every week, or excuse me, every day. That is a lot of basketball. It's a lot of great basketball, but that is a lot of work to put that on. And obviously, huge credit to him. I can't remember what year this is for him running that event, but it is truly the top in-season event in the state. You look at the number of games, you look at the quality of competition, the number of outstanding teams, the number of outstanding players. He does a nice job bringing in a couple of out-of-state teams every year. Just incredible what he does and continues to do with that event. I remember talking to him in the past. He used to bring in teams from even farther away.
Yeah.
At one point, he was bringing in, some of those elite teams. This was before all the prep schools and everybody did that kind of junk. But he would bring in teams from Illinois and I think Indiana that had elite level teams, and he'd have to put them up in hotels and all this other stuff. And he's going away from that. It's mostly focused on in-state games. But yeah, an incredible event, an incredible showcase of basketball. I know Zaleski's streaming a number of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know that every game is streamed, but a lot of games that you're going to be able to watch, whether you go down there or you're just watching on your computer.
Yeah, just looking at the games and the list of games in front of us. Like Trav said, 9 games every day. On the 27th, that first day on Saturday, 6 of those 9 games feature a ranked team. So on Saturday, you got the in D5, the third ranked Sheboygan Lutheran has University School. D4, number 7, Dominican has Living Word Lutheran. You got Nicolay, who is the 5th ranked team in D2. They got Ashwaubenon. The next 2 are really, really good matchups. You have Freedom, who is the top ranked team in D3. Donovan Davis, one of the higher recruits in the state. They go play a unranked Brookfield Central team that very realistically could be ranked. They just are coming off a 16-point win over a Wauwatosa West team. I think Brook Central started the year off 0-2, but they've rattled off 4 straight wins since. Following that one, you got number 3 Arrowhead in D1 versus Slinger, number 2. Slinger just having a gauntlet of a couple weeks. They are scheduling. So we talked about that with Coach Levine and the non-con games that he's scheduling and testing himself with. And then the final matchup on that Saturday is Waterford, who is the 6th-ranked team in D2, taking on Beaver Dam, the 2nd-ranked team in D2. And Waterford's coming off of, they got a good win yesterday over Milwaukee Lutheran at the New Berlin Viking Classic, which is one of those pre-Christmas holiday tournaments that's happening right now. And then Beaver Dam just took down D3 number, is it 2 or 3, Oostburg, top ranked team, one of the top ranked teams in D3, Oostburg. They took them down earlier this week. You head to that Monday slate again. It's just filled with ranked matchups. The top team in D5, Columbus Catholic, playing Living Word Lutheran. Living Word's got one of the top sophomores in the state, and Jordan Evans there. He's hit a game winner in a game already this year. He's a really, really talented guard. Iowa Scandinavia, 9th-ranked team in D4, gets to play a really good Kettle Moraine Lutheran team. I don't know if Alex Robbins is back for Iowa Scandinavia, but I know that he had hoped to be back for this event. Big, athletic, high-scoring D1 recruit wing for Iowa that's been out for the last couple weeks with injury. You just go down the list: Brookfield Academy versus Prairie School, Xavier versus Notre Dame. Again, Beaver Dam's back. Ashwaubenon, Appleton North, who is a ranked team in D1, gets Homestead, who was another really, really good D1 team. De Pere, who is undefeated and just they reloaded. They get Totino Grace out of Minnesota. West Dallas Central, one of the top teams in D1, gets, is it Wayzata out of Minnesota? Wayzata. And then you got Dominican and Oshkosh North, a D4 team playing a really good D1 team out of the Fox Valley. Just going right down the list, we'll go to Tuesday. Iola at Columbus, a ranked matchup of lower school teams. Xavier St. Thomas More, Appleton North Milwaukee King, Oshkosh North Slinger, Nicolay Wayzata, De Pere, Nina, West Dallas Central, Totino Grace, Marquette and Kaukauna, and then finishing it off with Pius and Catholic Memorial. Just a loaded 27 games there, and I don't think you can look at it and be like, there's not a good one. Just a really, really, if you want to go get some good basketball in, head on down to Concordia this week or next week. This weekend, next week. We touched a little bit on the Doctors of Physical Therapy Holiday Classic at Carthage and Parkside. That happens. Starts today, and then it goes on the 26th and 27th. Not a huge amount of what I would call marquee matchups, but there are some ranked teams in it. Tosa West plays today at 6 at UW Parkside. Racine St. Cat's, that game with Greenfield should be a pretty good one. Racine Lutheran also plays. Probably the two ones that you are going to want to see are both on Saturday. Both at Carthage, both the last 2 games of the night. Racine St. Cat's plays Milwaukee Academy of Science, and then Racine Lutheran plays Wauwatosa West. All 4 are ranked. All 4 have Division I athletes on it. All 4 are really, really, really skilled and deep programs. Trev touched on the Century Classic on the boys' side. The only ranked team this year is Mount Horeb. They'll get to play Stevens Point and Oshkosh West. Stevens Point just coming off a win over Verona, one of our ranked teams in D1, and then Oshkosh West. They're a solid team in that FVA that's just deep. Sauk Prairie's there. That's another team that's had a really good start to the year, and they also get Stevens Point and Oshkosh West. In the Sun Drop on the boys' side, there's one really good marquee matchup. Outside of that, it's got 10 games that feature some really good teams, but the one that you're going to want to see is D4 number 2 Roncalli and D4 number 5 Bonduel. We were spoiled a little bit last year where they played I think they just scheduled it at the end of towards the end of the year. They just were like, hey, we have an extra game, we're going to play it. That ended up being a really good one. Expect this one to be the same. Just going down the list and looking at some of the other ones, the AB Nicholas, that's got Kimberly, Madison West, Marshfield, Wanakee, all pretty solid teams. Wanakee coming off their
Did
first
you
loss
say
of the year.
A.B. Nicholas?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that what it is?
Ab Nicholas.
Ab Nicholas. Apologies. Uh, yeah. Whoops.
Isn't the court at or well, there's the Nicholas Johnson Pavilion at Wisconsin. There's something else that's named
Yeah.
after Ab Nicholas. Is the court or no? It's Bull Ryan Court, right?
Is it the is
They
it the
did something else.
coaches? Is it the coaches suite?
Well, that's the Nicholas. Yeah. There's something else
One of
though.
the suites might. Looking at some of the smaller school ones, I really do like the Adams Friendship Tournament. Trav, we talked about Hillsborough a little bit. They played North Crawford, the top or one of the top teams in D5, really close the other night. Sparta's there, who pretty solid team out of the Mississippi Valley. They're obviously have a gauntlet of a schedule in the MVC, but Adams Friendship undefeated, and then an Ellsworth team who's really good. You go to the Aquinas game or the Aquinas tournament, you got Crawford, who is undefeated. They get a Northwestern team who is really good. So they get to, Crawford's going to get the chance to push themselves with some bigger school teams. Aquinas is obviously there. And that's a Monday. Monday is the matchups. Tuesday is the consolation and championship game. So you're going to get some good matchups. At the Cedar Grove, Belgium, Howard's Grove and Martin Luther play. Howard's Grove is undefeated. Martin Luther has had coming off a win over Racine St. Cat's. Oakfield is there. They're ranked in D5.
Martin Luther also. Who else did they just beat? St. Cat's and
Kenosha St. Joe's.
yeah, St. Joe's.
Yeah,
And
so
they
that
started. They were one of our nominees for Team of the Week. They lost what 4 of the first 5,
yeah.
and then beat St. Cat's, who was number 1 at the time, and then beat St. Joe's, who's really good. So
Yeah, they're playing well. That Metro Classic conference is just. I think I saw Dan Barwick talk about it, but it's like that. There's just you never know really what you're going to get. You got probably your top 2 teams in St. Cat's and Raleigh, but obviously St. Cat's going down to Martin Luther, so it's a really good fun conference. Big one that we didn't touch on that is on my list to talk about is the Culver's Winter Invitational and the Kettle Cup over in Kettle Moraine. 3 day or 2 days, 27th and 28th, and there's 20 or more games that day or those games. They're playing in 3 different gyms. We've obviously hosted events at Kettle Moraine, so we know there's plenty of space there. A lot of really good teams, really good matchups. Sussex, Hamilton, Pewaukee. They do it a little differently too. They do a showcase in there where there's just showcase games that aren't part of any sort of tournament style, bracket style. And then they do 3 different divisions, so to speak, of bracket style. They do the Kettle Cup White, the Kettle Cup Navy, and the Kettle Cup Gold. And then they'll play the championships and consolation games the next day. So a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good matchups. You're going to see Lakeside Lutheran and West Dallas Central. Really good chance for Lakeside with West Ron, but they go up against one of the top teams, regardless of division, in West Dallas Central. Coach Smith, our co-host, he gets to play a really good Edgerton team on that Saturday. Milton, who's just knocking off Wanakee, they'll have New Berlin Eisenhower. Onalaska, the top-ranked team in D2, they get to play Sheboygan North, who just knocked off West Appear last night. So a lot of really good matchups. Just a huge amount of games. Big event, one of the top events in the state. Looking at McDonald Central, you got a top 10 matchup in D5 with Turtle Lake and Loyal. That's just one of the matchups. The other 2 teams there are McDonald Central and Mellon. McDonald Central, they play in a really tough conference. Mellon plays out of the is it the Northern Lights now, right? That's the conference that used to be the Indian Head, now is the Northern Lights, and they got some really good.
It's funny that so it's the Northern Lights Conference. They changed it 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
On their conference site, it says like in the title or whatever, it says Northern Lights, but their URL is still IndianHeadConference.org. So
Yeah.
haven't been able to update that.
At Lodi, you get you'll get a matchup between a Darlington team that's one of the top teams in D3 and Lodi on the second day on the 30th on Tuesday. That's a really good matchup. Um, Going down the list here, we got Marshall. You said on the girls' side is pretty good. On the boys' side, Partyville's there, Marshall's there. Coach, really good friend TJ Zwiffel is there at Marshall. Head coach Edgewood's coming in. They're having a little bit of a down year. They had quite the transfer out of two of their best players. Went out of state prep school, and then you got a Laconia team who is still waiting on the arrival of Cash Farrell back from injury, but another really good smaller school tournament. As we mentioned, though, just in every corner of the state over the next 7 days, you're gonna have matchups that you can get to. So if you like basketball, if you like high school basketball, there is somewhere that you can go to watch basketball over the next few days. It's not just in the southeast side. It's not just in the southwest side. There is tournaments in every corner of the state. I feel like there's more popping up, especially even in the northern side, where teams are getting and willing to play more and more games. But yeah, if you have the opportunity, head out to a game. Trav, any that you are heading to over the next couple days?
We'll see. I don't know what we'll do. We've got obviously Christmas events and things like that, and have some stuff planned for next week. But hopefully to get out, see something somewhere. But we'll see. I will tease. We don't have a formal announcement yet, but keep an eye out for some information coming for something on the Bound side for next year for Christmas and holiday events. We'll have some more information coming soon, but keep an eye out for that. So excited to see where that's going to take us. We'll talk about other events coming up, but there are other events obviously continuing into the new year, into January and even February. We've got the Midwest Players Classic that we're excited for, one of the better events throughout the schedule. We'll be there, and we're excited to partner with them even a little bit more this year. We'll have some more information coming out on that. And then also the Deer District Prep Showcase at the Fiserv Forum, at Fiserv Forum, not the Fiserv Forum. That's coming up later as well. Again, look for more information coming on that. We're excited to again partner with the Milwaukee Bucks on that event. Have a great day set up. Expanded to 5 games this year, so we'll continue to preview and highlight some of these other events that come up. But absolutely, this holiday season, especially the way it fell, really busy with a lot of outstanding action. Speaking of the Deer District Prep Series, I can, I guess, officially tease that one. Next year, it's going to be a little bit sooner. It's going to be over, I guess, maybe over the holiday break, depending on how you look at it. It's going to be Saturday, January 2nd, 2027. We're in the process of getting teams locked in and matchups created for that. So look forward to sharing some more information about that as well.
Yeah, and maybe we bring this topic up when Coach Smith is back and we can have a full discussion. But you had made note last week is, do these events affect, people's willingness to go see those games and teams at state level? Are they getting out and seeing them at events like this, at the border battles, at the Midwest Players Classic, at your Thanksgiving events? Are they getting out and getting that exposure?
I think that is part of what we're seeing at the state tournament level, where it used to be there was so much buzz about teams and players because that was the place where you could see them all to play. There wasn't another place where you got that level of in number of teams together in one location to play. And now there's many of them, whether it's the WBY shootout, which has been around for a while, but there's so many other events, so many other big events. There's more games. So teams are scheduling more events like this. Just a couple of years ago or a few years ago, you had 20 games you could play, and now it's 24.
Yep.
That number of games has gone up significantly, which adds more opportunities, and coaches are taking advantage of that to their credit in going out and scheduling games like this. You've also got obviously the streaming piece where
Yep.
people are able to watch these teams all year, even if they don't go to one of those events. They can watch them pretty much every game, anywhere. So I think that has impacted that buzz around the state tournament, where again, it's not, oh my gosh, I really want to go watch Sam Oki. I've never seen Sam Decker. This is going to be my only chance to go see him. This Germantown team, the Stevens Point team, we want to see what they can do. Now people are seeing them frequently
Yeah.
during the season, either in person at events or top level non-conference matchups or on streaming or whatever it might be. I think that does have something to do with the decrease in state tournament attendance that we're seeing. I think it impacts basketball more than any other sport. I mean, it's not like that dynamic has changed really in football necessarily, because there's not as many games to do these kinds of things or
Yep.
these events. Um, Volleyball, maybe to an extent. I mean, they all play tournaments every weekend anyway, so it's that maybe hasn't changed. But I think that scenario has impacted basketball more than any other sport. That's a whole different topic and conversation. Maybe we'll touch on it as we get later into the year and maybe get closer to the state tournament. Just that the decline in state tournament attendance, reasons why, potential reasons why, all those kinds of things. But I think the proliferation in increase of these types of events has played into it.
Yeah, and by no means are we saying that we don't want these events to happen. By no means are we saying don't go out and schedule the best games that you can in the non-conference, or don't go play in the WBY shootout. That is not anything that is being discussed on here. It is simply a observation that because there is the exposure of the athletes and the teams now throughout the season, that state tournament, some people that are just your general admission, they're already getting that exposure. Um,
Although, let's be honest, I mean, many of the declines are not just in that general fan
yeah,
area. Many of them have been in the school areas where there's many schools that are not bringing the crowds that they used to bring.
that's a whole topic of conversation that we can talk about in general, is getting to events, getting to high school events, how to support teams, everything like that. That's for a later date. Uh, as we mentioned, we're recording on the 23rd, so tomorrow is Christmas Eve. The next day is Christmas. Everybody have a great holiday. Yes, if you're wondering, I'm wearing a Grinch hoodie, a onesie with a hood. I'm in the holiday spirit. Trav's in the holiday spirit. Stay in the holiday spirit. If you can get out to a game, there's plenty of basketball. Coach Smith, we hope you feel well. Um, Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned, because 2026 has got a lot of good things happening here on the baseline. So happy holidays, everyone.